Today we're making chicken teriyaki from my family's restaurant, Wok Grill. Growing up in the restaurant industry meant that big family holiday dinners weren't really a thing. But hey, this is the food that put food on our family's table, which, funnily enough, wasn't actually anything we cooked in the shop. I helped out around the shop since I was old enough to count cash. And then I eventually moved on to bigger tasks like helping out at the kitchen and managing inventory. You know that kid hanging out at the Chinese restaurant? Yeah, that was me. Anyway, unfortunately, we had to permanently close the Wok over COVID, but I'm super excited to keep its legacy alive and share this version of our best-selling recipe that you can cook at home. Alright, so we're going to start with 1.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thigh and cut it into bite-sized pieces. So here I have a 1:1:1 mixture of paprika, white sugar, and salt. And we're going to do basically 1 tablespoon of each. Alright, so here we have a mixture of white pepper, granulated garlic, and onion powder. And we're going to do a ratio of about 2 parts garlic powder, 2 parts onion powder, and 1 part white pepper. And we're just going to do about a tablespoon of that. Never actually use measurements, even in the shop, but I'm doing this for the recipe. Now we're going to do about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of laojiu or Shaoxing wine, or honestly, if you're at home, you could just use cooking sherry or like a dry white wine that you have that's like going stale in the fridge. 1/4 cup or 4 tablespoons of a teriyaki sauce of your choice. And you might be thinking, what? Store-bought teriyaki sauce? But more on that later. This is just for the marinade. For the actual sauce, we're going to be fortifying it up with some fun things that you'll see. Last but not least, we're going to use 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and just be very careful not to use too much, because this is for helping tenderize the meat. If you use too much, it will make your food taste soapy. So here we are. If we were at a restaurant, there would be a big industrial stand mixer that would be tenderizing with tenderizing the meat with a meat hook, going around like a big swirly for about 30 minutes. But in home cooking, we don't have that luxury, so we'll just try to give it a nice massage, basically, for, say about 5 minutes or until your hands get tired. If you have a stand mixer and you don't care about getting raw chicken bits all over it, then you can feel free to use that, but otherwise, just try to give it a nice massage. So after the massage, it should look something like this. After that, it's going to go in the fridge. For overnight's the best. The longer that you put it in the fridge, the more of a cured meat kind of smoky flavor it's going to develop, and kind of like a leathery cured meat texture as well. So it's up to your preference. If you like that in your chicken teriyaki, let it marinate for longer. But if you don't, then just put it in for overnight, like 3 hours to overnight. So we're going to take about 1.5 cups of our store-bought teriyaki sauce. To that, we're going to add about roughly double of chicken broth or stock. In this case, about 3 cups. You could use store-bought chicken stock, honestly. This is just because I was making chicken for Louise, so I was poaching some bone-in chicken breast, and I added some carrots, celery, onion, and importantly about 1 inch knob of ginger. If you use store-bought, I recommend Better Than Bouillon or like the canned Superior Chinese soup stock. The only thing is, if you do that, you want to make sure to add about that 1/4 inch knob of ginger that you crush into the sauce. So we're going to turn up the heat on our sauce until it gets to a boil, and while it's heating up, we're going to add about 4 tablespoons. Light, L-I-G-H-T, not L-I-T-E, soy sauce. And 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing wine, 老酒, or like I said, any dry cooking wine. And then once it reaches a boil, we're gonna give it a taste and see how much brown sugar we need to add to give it a little bit of like that sticky kind of taste. And we're gonna add in our cornstarch slurry, which is just about a 1-to-1 mixture of cornstarch to warm water. And then we'll slowly just kind of titrate it in until we get the thick consistency that we want. Oh, this smell brings me back. So we'll give it a taste. Okay. All right, so I gave it a taste and it needs a little bit more sugar. So we'll give it maybe like another,
4 tablespoons of brown sugar.
Give it a stir. All right, so we've got the flavor that we want, and now we're gonna slowly add in our cornstarch slurry until we get the desired consistency. So we want something that's nice and can coat the back of a spoon. There's no like magic number for cornstarch slurry. It's pretty common in Chinese cooking, but it's just to thicken up the sauce, and you just cook it until you get the desired consistency. Also, the sauce is really where you can customize and make this recipe your own. So if you wanted to make like a Hawaiian style teriyaki, you could substitute part of the either the teriyaki sauce or the broth with like a pineapple juice. Or if you wanted like more of a Japanese flavor, you could add like a whole, maybe like half of an apple, and then just slow cook and dissolve it into the sauce, and that add like a nice mild sweetness and a little bit of a tang. Fun fact, actually, while we're on the topic, teriyaki, as we know it, is originally from Seattle, and yeah, it's originally from Seattle. Not from Japan. While they do have teriyaki in Japan, it's not the teriyaki that we know that we usually do for chicken. It's more for seafood. So I got it to about the consistency that I want it. You can see leaves a nice coating on the spoon, and that's good because it means it'll stick to our chicken and rice. Oh, it's been 24 hours. We have our chicken here. I made some white rice. I steamed some mixed vegetables. Usually it's carrots, cabbage, and broccoli. I didn't have any broccoli, so I used bok choy. I reheated our sauce, and I added just a knob of ginger just so it would have more of the flavor that I wanted it to. And you can adjust the sauce to how you want it to be tasting. And let's see, is it hot enough? Yeah, see, dance in nicely in frost effect. So once it's hot enough, lower down the temperature, and you want to take a high smoke point oil. You can use canola, vegetable, grapeseed, peanut, or sunflower. I'm using garlic infused sunflower oil, and oil generously. Turn down the heat, and we'll come back to it and add our chicken. Usually in a restaurant we do this on the flat top, but for home cooking we'll do it over the stove. Oh, that smells so good. So if you were doing this on a flat top, you would take your spatula and you would press down to get like a nice even sear. Alright, so you want to just do it like you would do a stir fry. So if you want to be fancy, you can do a little bit of this, but honestly, with this small of an amount and not a wok, it's easier just to push it around with a fork. And right now I can tell this is good just because I've done this a lot, but I've worked with this chicken a lot. But if you're not sure, just take the biggest piece, and basically if it's cooked up both the sides, it should be cooked because they're so small, but just cut it open and you can see it's cooked. And don't be afraid of overcooking chicken thigh, because you can be pretty aggressive with chicken thigh. So now we're going to do the plating. A life hack is if you start with a wet spoon, the rice won't stick to it as bad. So in a Seattle style teriyaki, they would usually dress this in a light mayo dressing. But we didn't do it that way at the shop, so I'm not doing that today. Oh, look at that. Make it a little bit prettier. That looks and smells so good. And then we'll take some of our sauce, give it a quick stir. Drizzle it on top. Alright, so minor mishap. We may or may not have completely eaten the first version of the dish, and the footage may or may not have been lost. So I recreated a second batch, and here is a faithful recreation of the first trying. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's like I took a time capsule back to Wok Grill. This takes me back. All it's missing is a soda pop and an egg roll to make it a combo. Oh my gosh. That's what I'm talking about. You gotta try this. You gotta try this. You won't regret it. You won't regret it. We have Chinese food at home. We have Chinese takeaway at home. Put it right here.